Okay, a couple of things we talked about during third. We got regionals coming up, so you got to take care of yourself starting this weekend, making sure that you're ready to go, doing all the things that we talk about every single tournament. One of them is the wind. Like, we want to practice in this wind because it's gonna be windy in Corpus. We have high expectations of all the kids out here, and we want to get first and second in every division at regionals, and we want to get first and second at every division at state. Doesn't always happen, but that's our goal.
When it comes to tennis, head coach Cade Smith means business here in Mason. You might say he's in the business of winning. Cade himself was once in their shoes because growing up here, he was state tennis champion for 2 years. Cade's sister, Selah, who just happens to be the assistant coach here, was state tennis champion for 3 years.
Yesterday was great for us. Tomorrow's going to be great for us.
It's a tradition they take seriously in Mason.
This is the history of Mason tennis, the winningest tennis team in Texas.
That's putting it mildly. Down at the museum on the Courthouse Square, Amelia Zesch is the curator of all things tennis in Mason.
We win state championships, and no matter where you go in Texas and you play tennis, you mention Mason, they know of us. We had more courts per capita than any county in the state of Texas.
Is it a little unusual for a town located where this one is, the size of this one is, to be so big in tennis?
Well, this is interesting because, you would think that tennis was for the affluent. But back in the day, during the Depression era, all you needed was a lawn, a tennis ball, and a tennis racket.
What happened was 96 state championships in tennis. The first was Steve Latham way back in 1935, who qualified for state, then hitchhiked all the way to Austin only to thumb his way back home with the Silver State Title Cup. And that's back in the day when the big schools played the small schools with no separation for size.
We've got Steve Latham's original racket right here. Can you imagine being a kid hitchhiking back with a silver trophy during the Depression? We're at 96. We are 4 away from the magic number of 100.
What school in Texas is number 2 to that record, and how many do they have?
Dallas Highland Park, and I think it's mid-50s.
It may have been Steve Latham who broke the ice with Mason's first state title, but it was the championship team of Helen Sell and Francis Cruz who secured the legacy of tennis here for the next 8 decades.
We played kids from Galveston and Houston and whatever.
When was that?
We graduated in '42 from high school.
Francis and Helen were the mothers of the Mason tennis program.
We grew up together. The picture that I have with Helen in there was taken the last time that she and I won a tournament.
Francis Cruz is now Frances Bodie. Her best friend and tennis partner Helen died several years ago. But now, at 92, dressed in her tennis whites, Frances and her husband Billy still play on this private court, just steps from the kitchen door.
We play on Sundays now, that's all. And that is a matter of how you define playing,
How old am I?
You will be 96 next week, week
At
after next.
96 next week. And once a week, you still go out there and play tennis?
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Somehow this enduring tradition of game, set, and match, carried through so many decades, has served one small town in the Texas Hill Country very well. They've made history and then some. The list of Mason state champions is too long for any billboard, But in the museum here, the Wall of Fame is a testament to hard work, stubborn determination, and untarnished optimism.
During the 60s, 70s, you can see where Sports Illustrated came and did an article on tennis home on the range.
Look at the pigs in the forefront of the tennis court.
Look at the pickup. What's in it?
A tennis racket and a gun, I think.
That's right.
Little Mason, Texas has 23 courts and 2,000 tennis-crazed inhabitants who play every day and most of the night.
This is our record right here. State championship by coaches. John Latham taught his son, who was the first to win. Helen Talent had 15 wins. Fred Scott 2, John Burgess 2, Paul Smith 72.
72 wins?
72 state wins. And Cade Smith, his son, has 4 and will soon have more.
It's windy, and that, you know, sometimes it changes the way you play.
So is it strange handing over the reins after 72 state champs to your son?
It was one of those things that I was kind of ready to turn it over 2 or 3 years ago, but my daughter was going to be the one to take it over, and but when she started having babies right and left, and that kind of slowed it down. Cade was coaching at San Angelo Central for 11 years, and so whenever he said he was ready to come home, it was a perfect timing for me. So it was great, but you know, it's really good because both of those kids, you know, they've gone through our system. They know exactly how we've done it, so it made the transition really easy.
I think you could look on every court out there right now and find somebody that had either a mother or a father or a brother or a sister, somebody in the family that has been at the state tournament or won a state championship at some point.
This is a 1-2A school. A lot of these kids do not go on and play collegiate tennis, but they play it for the rest of their life.
I've always said when I die, I want them just to put me underneath that tree over there, just fertilize the tree a little bit more. So we ran a lot of tournaments out from underneath that tree right there, so it'd be a great place to get to make your final resting place around here.
It kept us alive, or kept me alive, you might say. In fact, I think our oldest boy is convinced of that. He said, it's amazing what that court's done for y'all.
Overhead, you gotta know you're gonna have to move.
Plain and simple, when it comes to tennis, there's no place in Texas where winning is woven into the fabric of a town like it is in Mason. In this culture of competition, it's almost like state titles are passed down generation to generation with no end in sight.
You guys are in your 90s now.
Yeah.
You've been playing tennis most of your life. What tip could you give somebody to make them a better tennis player?
Play more tennis.
I love that story.
Me too, and we've got plenty more where that came from.
Just click on the subscribe button and keep traveling with us.